We operate under a company named Douglas Farms Joint Venture. This is Chapman Ranch outside of Corpus Christi South, about 12 miles. It's Nueces County and obviously in South Texas. This particular field is what we would call hard pan ground. It's a real stiff, real hard Victoria type clay, and typically history has been very, very difficult to farm. And what makes it difficult to farm is it's very cloddy, so it's hard to get a uniform stand. It's hard to take care of the crop once it is up. There's just certain days you could come work this. You would have to stop working another field and come work this one when it was right, and then come back and finish up the field that you left. Probably for 15 years, that's what we had to do. You had about a day-and-a-half window, 2-day window to get in here and plow this field or field cultivate it or plant it or whatever, and still you didn't get a good stand unless it rained within 2 or 3, 4 days after you planted. And so this was a field that we decided to try the Medina product to see if we could first of all loosen the soil up, make it a little more pliable, get a little more consistency throughout the field and not have so many different hard pan spots and good dirt spots. So we tried this, started in 2004, put our first treatment out and grew a grain crop, and we were pleased with the grain that came off of the field. It was probably one of the, in the last 5 or 6 years previous to planting it in 04, was one of the better productions that we had. It made about 54 bushels per acre, which for this field was very, very good. We grew grain in this field most of the time because it was so hard to get a stand of cotton. And when the different cottons came out where we could plant it on top and wait for a rain and Roundup Ready would help us keep the weeds clean, then this became a field that would grow good, consistent cotton. And we had cotton in it 3 or 4 years before we did the Medina treatment to it. And then the second year we had the Medina on, we planted cotton in here, and you could tell that the ground was more mellow. It was a little more consistency, conducive to making a good planting bed or seed bed. And then that particular year was a very wet year, but we were able to finish the harvest through here and get equipment in and out, even with all the rain, to make a little over 600 pounds per acre that year. So it's real difficult to know that the Medina is working from a production standpoint, but it's very easy to notice that it's working from a field operation standpoint, where you're looking at being able to get a chisel plow through or get a field cultivator through, or keeping the land more mellow so that it's easy to make a good seed bed and get a good stand. And those are the improvements that we've seen in this field. We rent and own about 8,500 acres total. And all of that is row crop or field crop, however you want to refer to it. And we're always looking for ways to get more benefit from our input, or else we're looking for ways to save money and get better benefit of the cost that we put into something. And so when we started this, I guess the science behind the idea sounded good, and we were wanting to pick a couple of fields to start to see if it were something that would really pay and you could put a pencil to and say that yes, it's working for us, or no, it's not working for us. And so try to keep as good a records as we can, and most everything though is going to be kind of a cost average. However many acres we're farming, we just break the cost down and average them back in to see how it's doing. And we have adjusted the fertilizer rate on these particular fields and use less fertilizer along with the Medina and the molasses and the other products that go in. And it seems to be working well. It's real difficult to get a good, solid fix on what you're doing with those kind of statistics, but when you look at the field and how you can plow it, or it does get a better stand because the ground was more mellow, you look at those things that are physically easy to see, then you can see there's benefit to what we're doing. This is rented land here. I think we probably see a little better benefit to our bottom line off the land that we own, because then we're getting 100% of that benefit back. And so I think that I'd have to answer yes. We're getting our benefit for what we're putting into it, and I think though I think it's got to be a 5 or a 6 or a 7 year program to really determine if it's doing what we think it should do. It's not something that you can do for 1 or 2 years and say, I didn't like it, so I'm quitting. That's not fair to the type of product that it is. I think you have to commit to it for 5 to 7 years, and that's kind of what we did.